Hello everyone, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video for everybody. Today we're looking at the KWC M40 CO2 non-blowback BB pistol. Probably wondering which one is it? We got 6 different Smith & Wesson M&Ps on the table. I will be comparing the non-blowback version here from KWC to the blowback version that I've already reviewed. I've pretty much reviewed everything here except for the non-blowback version. Mostly I'll be comparing these two, but I did want to kind of show off this plethora of Smith & Wesson M&Ps. There are so many available now in all different versions, and I don't even have them all here. There's Airsoft versions I don't have. There's even extended barrel versions that I don't have on the table. But this will give you an idea that there's quite a few options out there for you. So let's just really quickly kind of go from right to left and just sort of talk about each one briefly. So this is probably the original one. This is the Umarex. Let's get in here. And this is the Smith & Wesson MP40. This is basically an all plastic gun with a stick magazine. Uses that type of a stick mag that we've seen before. Okay, all molded together pretty much. You've got the screws here. It's a very simple gun, very inexpensive, probably the cheapest one. And not a bad gun at the end of the day, but it's just basically your standard BB pistol with a stick mag. And then we have the Smith & Wesson. This is the M&P45, okay? And it is actually a pellet shooter, okay? So it has a different system here. You put your CO2 in there like that, and no pellets or BBs go in the bottom, right? They just, basically what happens, gotta do this from the side, is you have this rotary mag like you find on several Umarex pellet pistols, and you're ready to go. It's pretty basic. There's obviously no blowback action. It's definitely a heavier gun with a kind of funky looking safety on it. But it's a nice shooter, you know, recessed barrel, nice pellet pistol if you want a basic pellet pistol that looks like an M&P. Okay, and then what do we have here? We have the Umarex, and this is basically a branded version of the MP40, the KWC MP40, but this is Umarex licensed and branded version, so it's essentially just like this one right here with the licensing, okay? Because this one's actually made by KWC, distributed by Umarex. So full blowback action. Right, full dropout magazine, very basically the same as this one with licensing and all the branding and everything on it. Okay, so then that brings us to our guns that we're going to look at today, primarily the non-blowback and the blowback version. So the difference is obviously blowback action, right? So blowback action here, right? Working slide, full metal magazine. This gun has a steel slide or metal slide on it. Right, everything kind of works the way you'd expect. It's field strippable, takedown lever, all of that kind of stuff. Very authentic replica, recessed barrel, white dot sights, okay? Nice heavy weight to it, close to 2 pounds. I can't remember the exact weight, but closer to the real steel version. And then we have this non-blowback version here. And again, the KWC versions are not licensed or really branded that much other than our own KWC there. But it does have a slide that kind of is separate from the two halves. So sometimes guns or air guns, the cheaper ones, they'll put 2 halves together and screw them together on one side. They basically are using pins, so they have a molded bottom section that is 2 parts, and then a top section slide, which is 1 part, okay? So it you can kind of get that slide wiggle because it is separate from the rest of the frame, but nothing really works in terms of the takedown lever. This slide catch release is just for show. It's molded in. It doesn't seem to work at all. It isn't molded in, but it isn't functional in any way, okay? Not that I can tell. This one is your safety though, by the way, okay? Pretty cool. So you can see there, you do have a serial number, right? No screws holding this together, just some pins, okay? Right? But it's nice that they've hid the safety, right? You can see the safe. The slide is all molded, so the ejection port is molded into the slide. You're not gonna see anything because it doesn't move anyways. Right? And of course your extractor is molded in. You do have a recessed barrel. When you pull the trigger, it actually goes in instead of out. Like some of them go out and then snap back. This one goes the other way. You do have white dot sights on the front and the back. Okay. You do have a full-size dropout metal magazine with numbering on it. So that's pretty cool. Holds 19 rounds. Now, I'm kind of jumping ahead because I'm doing the comparison. We will get to specifications. I'm doing this in reverse order because I was wanting to show everything. So we're going to show it first and then do the specifications. Sorry about the discrepancy in how I normally do it, but we will cover everything. Trust me, we will. So you have some caliber there. You have the Picatinny rail. Okay, there's again your 2 halves molded together. Okay, the trigger is a double action trigger, fairly heavy. Okay, all right. Now I didn't even cover the box, what comes in the box. So let's take a look at the box really quickly. Then we'll get into the specifications, since some of them are on the box anyways, right? So here we have the box. It's a nice cardboard box, gotta like that, right? 1-to-1 scale, operated by 12 grams CO2, one cartridge, can shoot more than 250 BBs. Wow, that's pretty impressive. So it has good CO2 efficiency, weaver rail, okay, super stable, long life. So because it's less working parts, it's non-blowback, it's typically gonna have a longer life. And here we have the non-blowback featured there, 2.4 max joule, 118 meters per second, which actually works out to, and I will get into that, 387 feet per second, 19 rounds, 550 gram. We'll get more into this in a bit, but here's what you see. Hop up is fixed internally. So it does have a hop up, but it is fixed. Okay, inside the box, you do get a speed loader, which is nice, and an Allen key. Okay, so that's nice. You do get a little thing of BBs just to get you started. And of course you get the manual, right, with more specifications on it, right? Just some basic information on how to load it, shoot it, you know, some safety stuff generally inside here as well, right? What not to do and how not to use it, and a little parts diagram, typical KWC stuff in there. Now we're going to get back to the specifications and other information that's important, like it is available in our Canada and US Replica Airgun store, so check out the links in the description, or if you're reading this or watching this video on the website, check out the written review there just above you. There will be links above or below the video you're watching right now. It is a replica of a Smith & Wesson M&P40. If you haven't figured that out already, it is made in Taiwan by KWC. And let's get into the specifications. All right, it's non-blowback, as we've already indicated. It does have that slide that is fixed. It's a mostly polymer build with some metal parts, mainly the magazine is metal. Of course, the inner barrel, probably some other internal parts that need to be metal that have to have a little extra strength to them. It does use 12-gram standard CO2 cartridges like most of these air guns. It also shoots 4.5 millimeter steel BBs, has that 19-shot full-size dropout metal magazine. You're going to find a 3.5-inch smoothbore barrel. Again, that's metal barrel. Weighs in at 1.14 pounds or 515 grams and has that double action only trigger with a claimed FPS of 387. Already done the comparison. I think the only gun I actually haven't shown you is this guy, but I have shown it to you in other videos. This is the T4E. Get in here. It's M&P9, okay? And it is the, I think, 2.0 version. I've already reviewed this gun. But this is a paintball gun. See the size of those guys? A 40 or .43 caliber paintball pistol. Okay, there's CO2 in here, so gotta be a little careful. No rounds. A little tough to get in sometimes, not really sure why. But there we go. Okay, blowback gun, right? Blowback operation. And this is, again, a paintball pistol, but another M&P that I just wanted to show you, available, again, in our Replica Airgun store, and I've already reviewed pretty much everything on this table, just reviewing this guy right now. All right, you can't really field strip it because it's not field strippable easily. I believe you'd have to take some pins out. This takedown lever does not actually operate like the other blowback version, so it's not going to field strip. So we're going to get right into basically some of the pros and the cons, and I'm not going to talk about performance because I haven't done the field test shooting video. That'll come later. But let's get into those pros and cons. Well, it's a fairly accurate version, visually at least, of the Smith & Wesson M&P40. It has that nice discrete safety location, which is built into the slide catch release. Sometimes you'll find kind of these weird little, like this guy here, little switches almost, right? And I don't like that because you wouldn't find that on the real steel gun. So if they can work it into the slide catch release, just makes it look a little bit more legit. You're going to find that the barrel is recessed, right? So that's always nice when you have that recessed barrel. That just looks a little bit more legit again. More of the size opening of the actual caliber of the gun. Again, you're going to find those white dot sights front and back, and a rail for added accessories if you want to put a laser, tack light, something like that on there. Now, even though it's mostly plastic, with the magazine in, it feels reasonably heavy. When you take that magazine out, you definitely notice that the gun's plastic, but with the magazine in, it definitely has a lot better heft to it. I like with the KWC distributed versions, you're not going to find those ugly warning instructions. And I like that it comes with a speed loader and some extra BBs just to get you started. You will have to get CO2, so don't forget about getting CO2 somewhere, or this gun will not work. I've had people ask me if these air guns work without CO2. Well, that's kind of like putting a bullet in a gun that doesn't have gunpowder. Not going to work so good. All right, some cons for you guys. There's no blowback action or working slide, you know. Keeps the gun simple, less parts to break, less things to go wrong, but less realistic at the end of the day. It does have a somewhat heavy double action trigger that you're going to have to work a little bit to shoot. It is a little heavier than some other double action BB shooters I've reviewed, kind of on the heavy side. And again, it has that mostly plastic build, so it is lighter than what you'd find in the real steel version. But again, once you get that all metal magazine in there, it does help out quite a bit. Now I want to mention again, the KWC M40 CO2 non-blowback BB pistol is available in our Canada and US online replica airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. If you're interested in other products, we have air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, paintball guns, and other accessories there as well. So check out the Canada and US online stores. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe before you head out. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Username is Replica Airguns. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.